Hi, I am Stephanie J. Block.
And I'm Mary Lee Fairbanks.
And you are listening to Season 4 of Stages Podcast, where we go behind the scenes and beyond the resume.
Join us as we talk to some of the greatest talents from theater, TV, film, and more. And then check out stagespodcast.net for past episodes, merch, and so much more. And love where you are now. Hello, my friends. I want to tell you about this amazing initiative brought to you by The Outsiders Musical. It is called the Stay Gold Project. The Outsiders Musical, winner of the 2024 Tony Award for Best Musical, is committed to honoring young voices through the Stay Gold Project. It's an educational initiative inspired by this story that was written by a teenager about teenagers. With the lead grant from the legendary notebook maker Moleskine, this project includes free education resources, a youth ambassador council, and underwritten ticket access at no cost to young people. The Stay Gold Project is presented in partnership with the New York City Public Schools. If you'd like to learn more about the Stay Gold Project or to donate, go to outsidersmusical.com/stay-gold. That's outsidersmusical.com/stay-gold.
My friend, stay gold. My friend, stay gold.
And I didn't realize that we had met Mary Lee
At the baby shower.
And I just remember Jesse Mueller because we love to name drop. Well, I just
yeah. Drop all the names here.
Drop all the names. I mean, first of all, everyone was there. Annalee Ashford was there. And Jesse Mueller was baking in your kitchen. He was baking. I was like, I know you're doing this on the boards, but now you're baking in Stephanie's kitchen. And oh my God. And the house was just so gorgeous. And everyone, it was beautiful. And, you know, Vivian hadn't arrived yet.
No, she hadn't.
And
we still have that. Do you remember I made everybody, because I'm like this, make a scrapbook page for Viv? And you sat down and created these beautiful, like with stickers and feathers and pictures. Oh, I love that scrapbook so much. Back in 2002, my friend Jim Caruso asked me to be his date to the Drama Desk Awards that year. I was very excited as I had just moved to New York City a month or two before, and this invitation sounded really hip and swanky and New York actory. And one of the first people I met on the steps of the Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School of Music, Art, and Performing Arts was bona fide Broadway star Julie Halston. She was glowing and she was animated, and she seemed genuinely pleased to see me, even though we had just met. She called me darling immediately, and I was obsessed. This was how to be in the Broadway scene. This was the example I wanted to be in the Broadway scene. Cut to a decade later when she and I are sharing the stage, or as Julie would say, the boards, in Anything Goes at the Stephen Sondheim Theater. She was fantastic, and she was professionalism and silliness and support and experience. And I really hope to play alongside her again. We became fast friends. Julie is considered the muse of Charles Busch, who is a writer and performer, very prolific one at that. And he wrote many iconic roles for her and her incredible brassy comedy. Her Broadway credits are many: The Women, Hairspray, Gypsy, 20th Century, Anything Goes, You Can't Take It With You, On the Town, Tootsie, and is currently starring alongside Jim Parsons and Katie Holmes in Our Town at the Barrymore Theater. And in 2021, she was awarded the Isabelle Stevenson Tony Award for her dedication and advocacy in raising awareness and funding for the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation, a disease that took her beloved husband and beloved newscaster, Ralph Howard. I've had the privilege to sing at several of the Broadway belts for PFF in honor of her sweet, sweet Ralph. Julie is also a familiar face on TV as socialite Bitsy Von Muffling in Sex and the City and Just Like That. I will say that there is no one who tells a better showbiz story. There is no one better to lift your spirits with a smile and a one-line zinger. And there is no one better to meet as your very first bona fide Broadway star. Please welcome to Stages Podcast, the inimitable Julie Halston. Julie Halston to stage, please. Julie, we need you on stage. Hello, darling.
Darling,
Hello,
I'm so
darling.
happy. And I do remember at the LaGuardia, at the La Fiorillo, and of
Yes.
course, Jim is a big connector, but I had been hearing about you for so long, and he was like, oh my God, you don't know. And I was just so excited. And of course, I was astounded when you learned the entire Reno Sweeney role in about a week and a half. And I was like, okay, well, this is a
But
major challenge.
that cast was so lovely. And what a, to see Sutton go to film the pilot, to have this sort of truncated who's in and for how long and why after it was like a winning all these awards. And you just welcomed me with open arms and I trusted you implicitly. And it was a love affair, truly a mutual respect love affair. Yeah.
It was so fantastic.
But I want to go back to when you were like a babe. Take us to New York City, Broadway in the 1980s. What was that like?
Well, okay. It's interesting because Charles Busch, who really was one of the most important persons in my life, who actually sort of got me to a career, is being honored November 18th in the Theater Hall of Fame.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to speak on his behalf. And here's the story, and it really is the true story. We had a mutual friend. His name was Bobby Cohen. I went to college with Bobby Cohen, and Charles Busch went to summer camp with Bobby Cohen. And Bobby Cohen used to see Charles occasionally, and they met up again in Washington, D.C. after we graduated from college, which was, in the 1800s. And Bobby was like, "Oh, Charles, I understand you're doing your one-man show." It was called Charles Busch Alone with a Cast of Thousands. He would play men, he would play women, and he would just do it with one prop. He'd put a hat on and he'd become like Maggie Smith. Or he'd take that hat off and he'd have, a pen and he would become like or a paintbrush and he would become like some wild, mad painter, Anyway, Bobby said to Charles, "You really should know my friend Julie. We went to college together. She's the funniest girl in the world." And Charles was like, I don't need to meet some girl who's the funniest. I
have enough
Bobby said,
personalities up here with me
I
already.
don't need to meet that. I want to be the funniest girl in the world, really. So anyway, and he would say to me, "Oh, you have to meet my friend Charles Busch. He's just the most alluring man, and he's openly gay or whatever." And I was like, I don't need another openly gay man in my life. I'm trying to actually maybe
My dance card is full. I've got it.
it's kind of full. Anyway, it turns out we ended up in San Francisco at the same time, and he saw my act, which was terrible. I had a comedy act, which wasn't very funny.
So were you doing stand-up? Where were you doing your act?
It wasn't even stand-up. It was like me reading things from the New York Times, which I still do, by the way, except I didn't have many skills. I did it as a fundraiser for GRID, which was then called Gay-Related Immune Deficiency, and it was really what AIDS became.
Wow.
In 1983.
In San Francisco.
In
Wow.
San Francisco. And it was at this club called the Valencia Rose, which used to be a mortuary.
Oh,
And now it's a cabaret.
So what you're saying is you killed. You killed in there.
Thank you. I killed. Let me tell you, I killed, and everyone died, including my act.
Oh, no.
However, Charles was in the audience and he was like, she's terrible. He basically said to Bobby, he was like, that's the funniest girl that you met in college. She's terrible. He said, but I like her style. He liked my outfit. He liked my outfit.
Tell us what you were wearing.
What,
Do
yeah,
you know?
what were you wearing?
I was wearing a very Kay Thompson white sort of wool crepe jumpsuit. Very stylish, and it was very structured. And
Big shoulder pads from the early
big
80s.
shoulder, yeah, and
Okay.
and I had a sort of Vanille Sassoon cut hair, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, no, I was chic. I just couldn't do anything, but
You were chic. You just weren't funny.
I just wasn't funny.
That can absolutely make you famous these days, though. You know what I mean?
Really?
That's all you need kind of these days.
There was no Instagram then. There was no
No.
Instagram.
No.
So anyway, cut to, we met. We didn't seem impressed with each other at all. I thought he was aloof, chilly, and he just thought I was unfunny but chic. Cut to, we get back to New York, and he has written a little skit in his, moments of boredom because he was temping, at a Wall Street firm. And on his breaks, he would write this little skit, and he called it Vampire Lesbians of Sodom. That was the skit. There were clubs on the Lower East Side. Remember, this is 1983. The Lower East Side looks like Berlin after the war. It's a burnt out mess. The city is very unsafe, really.
Yeah.
It's very dirty. It was struggling financially, but these clubs were springing up. They really were. And there was a club, Limbo Lounge. This guy, Michael Gormley, who we're still in touch with actually, was booking acts. And I mean, like, he was going out on the street and saying, you have something to say? I'll book you. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, wait.
Who later became Bette Midler. You have something to say, and then became Barry Manilow.
Exactly. It was kind of like, what are you doing, Michael? Anyway, he was just booking anyone. I mean, there was a performance artist, Bina Sharif. She's a fascinating woman. But her whole act was that she would stand in front of a microphone in a very dull tone and she would recite perfumes. Opium, Chanel number 5, Eternity, Pavlova. I mean, that was the act, okay? She got booked. I mean, she got her friends. She got booked. I was gobsmacked. I thought to myself, I think I might be able to do something,
Yeah.
I
If
might
she
be able
can do
to-
it, I can do
Yeah,
it.
she's doing it. And she got a lot of people here. Anyway, she's kind of a fascinating gal. Anyway, he said to this guy, Michael Gormley, listen, I've written a little skit. It's called Vampire Lesbians of Sodom. He hadn't really even finished it yet. Michael said, oh, I love the title. You're booked. Those were the days where you could just say a title. Somebody thought it was funny. And he said, okay, you're booked. How about you do it, a week from now, over the weekend? Well, that was it. I mean, he had already gotten this one woman to do one weekend for him. She was like, I'm out of here. This is a crack den. I don't need to be doing this. So he got booked for another weekend and he had no takers to do his co-star role. He was going to be the star and he needed a co-star to play the succubus, a vampire named the succubus.
So he was then the lesbian?
Yes, well, we were both lesbian vampires.
Okay.
And I had nothing to do that weekend. I'm not joking. I was working on Wall Street. I had nothing to do. I had no men in my life because I just had a gay entourage as and he finally called me because he was so desperate. His own sister turned him down. And he said, would you do this? And I was like, oh yeah, meanwhile, like, well, do you act at all? And I was like, oh, well, I played Nina in this, in the Seagull at Hofstra. Well, what he didn't know was that it was like a showcase, and I went over to his apartment. His roommate was also the director, Ken Elliott. They kind of auditioned me and I heard them in the kitchen because the apartment was the size of this screen. And he said, Charles, she's terrible. She can't act. She can't act. And Charles said, well, we have no one else. We have no one else. I have called everyone. Well, I heard them. I went to rehearsal and I said, look, guys, I know I'm on Wall Street, but I want to be an actress. I studied acting at Hofstra University. You put me in a wig in front of the gay men, and I'm going to glow. Well, I'm not joking. I'm not joking, guys. We did this act one weekend. I got up there. I had a big wig on, had lots of eyelashes on, a big wig, and I strutted around that stage. And Charles was just, he just was like, he couldn't believe it. You know,
Like, where did this woman come from? Where did this lesbian come from?
Exactly, because she never showed up in rehearsal. And suddenly, you know, I took command and I was the succubus and the audience was howling. And the rest of the company was like, we don't know who she is, but she's terrific. She was really good, you know? And Charles said, hey, you want to actually do this? And I said, sure. And we started a theater company, all of us. And that show ended up running 6 years ago.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. And we'll be right back. Are you still really bad in rehearsals, or have you gotten past that?
Okay, that is such an incredibly great question because it did come up recently during rehearsal of Our Town. Because now I'm 90, you know, because I was a kid when we were doing vampires. And Kenny Leon works very differently than a lot of our directors. He's kind of a visionary. He's kind of a preacher. He's always interested in what you are as a person. You know, I'm used to, like, particularly with comedic material, you know, it's trying to like stand here, say it loud, move your voice this way, blah, 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 you know, talk fast. It's much more
formulaic. There's a formula to
it's a
comedy.
formula, you know, it's like music, you know,
Yeah.
you don't back phrase, you don't, you know, all that kind of stuff. Kenny's different. He wants, what are you feeling? What are you about? And I'm like, oh God, this is so not me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know my
We're
feeling.
from the school of Jack O'Brien comedy, not
Jack O'Brien, Jerry Zaks, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you just stand here, you say it loud, you blah, blah, blah. I don't like rehearsal, but this was a little different because it's Our Town, which is not necessarily a comedy. It's in fact the most beautiful play ever written, really, I think.
Yeah.
There are comedic elements. And Kenny said, Julie, I know you don't like this. This is not your thing. You're not a process girl. But I want you to bring much more of you to the character of Mrs. Soames. She's generally played as a very persnickety, unlikable town gossip. That's not what I want. I want people to like this woman and to understand why she is so in a tear about Simon Stimson. And I said, well, okay. And I said, but you know, I just don't see her yet as likable. He goes, yeah, but Julie Halston's very likable. And I want Julie Halston to be here. I started crying, guys. I'd never been told that in a rehearsal. I was freaked out a little. I just got very teary. Well, guess what? Mrs. Soames, people love Mrs. Soames in this production. They just love her. And I thought, what a great, fresh approach.
Yes.
Isn't that fabulous? I mean, you've been in the business for so many years and you've done so many different kinds of things. And at this stage, to still be discovering and rediscovering parts of yourself that you didn't even know you could bring on a stage. How fabulous is that? I mean, what a great gift.
It's the greatest gift. And this cast is so, you know, this is a cast of 28. That's a big cast.
Yeah.
Just don't see it. Well, you just think, oh my gosh, there's got to be somebody who's the rotten apple. You know, it's probably me, but there's got to be somebody. I'm telling you, this is an extraordinary cast. but it was led correctly by Kenny Leon. I would
Mm.
tell people, if you ever get a chance to work with this man, please do it. You're going to have a very different experience. And I mean, the reviews are in, and except for I've heard, except for like two or three, most of them are complete raves. And
Beautiful.
he really has reimagined Grover's Corners.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I can't
It's
wait to see
beautiful.
it.
Not
Yeah.
to get too personal, but with Ralph being gone in this play about life and death and eternity, and do you feel him close to you? Has he made himself known to you? Is that what you're bringing to Mrs. Soames along the way?
Well, it's very interesting because Charles actually asked me the same question because he was at the show, at the matinee yesterday.
Mm.
He said, how do you sit there in the third act in the graveyard and just not weep? And I said, Ralph was in the front view mirror in my life for so long. And I actually think this play has helped me put him a little more distant because I have a new life now. Now, do I think of Ralph all the time? Yes. I also have stepchildren I'm very close to. I have 12 grandchildren. We talk about Ralph all the time. But the third act of Our Town, yes, it's weepy and it's sad because there's death. But the way the stage manager talks about the dead has a real joyfulness to it and a sort of, it's calming. It's calming.
Mm.
And it is not so sad. In fact, what he says is, live people are the troubled ones. We are here. We're trying to work on many other things. We've put all those more petty concerns aside. And I feel it's helped me. I feel both closer to Ralph doing this play, but not as depressed about it. I feel more not letting go, but not letting go, because he's always there, but I don't have to be beholden to it every minute of the day. And I'm not. And I'm not, because, and he was the one, I mean, let me tell you, he was very much a man who lived in the present. He would always say to me, got to move forward. That's what life's all about. You got to move forward. And he was really a bug on that. And I think the play has helped me enormously. I really do.
How long were you married?
27 years.
27 years.
Yeah.
Do you believe in an afterlife? Do you believe in a heaven or a
I never
reincarnation?
did. Well, when I was a kid, I did, because I went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
And, the nuns basically told us, you are the only people that will be going to heaven.
Yes, of
Nobody
course.
else. Only Catholics. And that's only if you're a good Catholic.
That's
And if
right.
you're a bad Catholic, you're going to hell. And that's really what I believed. And then, I got older and I was like, well, this is just the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. This is nuts. I never did. But I don't know now. Who's to say? I mean, yes, we know the body goes. Well, the body went. Actually,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
10 minutes ago, the body went. But the body goes. But who's to say that there's not something? And the stage manager says it. He said, we know deep down inside that in human beings, something is eternal. Something is eternal. We might not be able to name it exactly, but something is eternal.
I agree. We are eternal. We're just energy, and energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transformed. So when we pass, our energy just transforms into something new that I believe settles inside the people and the places that we loved, that brought us joy.
I will tell you that my granddaughter, Hazel May, who never met Ralph, she had a dream about Grandpa, and he was holding her. Now, this is, she talked about this when she was like 4. I think maybe she was 4. And when he did pass, Lindsay was there, my stepdaughter, and she literally started hugging her stomach and she felt a heartbeat. And
Oh,
and my grandson Wyatt looks just like Ralph, and he's got that mystery smile and the wide blue eyes. And I tell you, I swear to you, it's Ralph's spirit. There's an energy. And it's so important. Look, we talk about it all the time, don't we? Send out positive energy.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
sure.
That's for
Send
real.
it out. Why not send it out in death too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah,
You know,
why
I find it very comforting.
Yeah, I do
find
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very comforting. What about you, Stephanie?
You know, it has changed as I've grown. Similarly, raised Catholic. I had beautiful nuns that I loved a lot, and our Catholicism was very celebratory rather than flames of hell or licking at your feet for every choice you make, you know.
Right.
So I do believe that there is a quote unquote better place, but then I started to believe that one lifetime just wasn't enough. I don't believe we learn all the lessons we need to learn in just one earthly lifetime.
Ah,
Yeah,
Hold
that's a
that
lot of
position
pressure to
like a
put that all into one
great,
lifetime.
a lot of pressure, right? I do think we come back. I really do hope that's the case.
that's what my mother believed. And we were always like, really, Mom? Reincarnation? She was like, yeah, I believe it. And listen, I'm of that ilk now that I'm open to a lot of things that I would never be open to before.
And isn't that a beautiful place to be, that curious, open space of, I don't know everything? That feels holy to me, just to say that out loud.
Yes.
Yeah. And I have to say, doing this play, I don't know now. I'm not
Wow,
sure.
it's been like an awakening, this play for you.
It really has, Stephanie. It has. It really
That's
has.
remarkable.
It is. And I have to say, it was always my favorite play. Now that I'm actually doing it and I get to hear it every night,
Mm.
I feel even more that this is one of the most profound pieces of literature in the canon of literature, not just American literature.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit with technical aspect, because something that's scary to me as an actor is when there is just kind of a big open stage with no sets and very little props, and you're just wildly exposed. And I know that our town is very much that. How do you feel? I call it the big swimming pool. How do you feel in the big swimming pool? Does it feel a bit unmoored, or do you love just grounding yourself in the darkness and going for it?
And it's such an interesting question again, because when we first saw the set, when we first walked in, we loved all the lanterns. There's this fantastic lighting and lanterns, and it's so beautiful, but there's no scenery except for, a table and chair, and a couple of chairs, and that's it. And props, we improvise the props. We mime.
Do you mime everything?
Oh,
We
wow.
mime props. We mime everything. And at first, I thought, oh dear, and you're going to pay $100 for this, I felt, oh. You know what's so great? When you see those people on that stage inhabiting their life, you actually feel like Katie Holmes is making bacon and eggs. You see Doc Gibbs and his wife. You somehow see her with the chickens in her garden. They inhabit that stage and that space. It does not feel bare at all.
Oh, how great.
Also, we start the show, all 28 of us are on stage.
Mm.
And we have a bit of a prayer that we do together. And that sets the tone. This is our town for our time. And people really are responding to it, And years ago, you would never see an African-American family, a white family, and we don't change a word of the script. It's taking place at Grover's Corners in New Hampshire. We have a deaf actor. We have an actor who has a prosthetic. We have multicultural.
Represents much of humanity.
Yes,
It's
just
our
people.
town. It's our
Yeah.
town. It's our community. That's who we are. So it's great. I love it. Now I'm like, I want all stages to be completely bare.
Yeah.
Just put the spotlight on.
Yeah, let us create the world the way we want to create the world, and let the audience see it the way
way
they
they see
individually
it.
see it. It's almost
Yeah.
like reading a book, right? The
Yep.
way I envision the heroine or the character and the world, a collective experience, but still very personal and individual at the same time.
Thornton Wilder was insistent on it, apparently. He was insistent on it. He did, very insistent when you read his notes. That's why it was always played with those two ladders, he never wanted sets, and he kept begging people, use your imagination.
And in 1938, that's pretty wild because it was all about the big, splashy musical and glitzy costumes and it was escapism, right? The war and the poverty, and they wanted joy and color and splash. So to bring it down and anchor it, that sort of bare bones reality. Wow.
Women in beautiful outfits coming through the doors and drawing room comedies or whatever. No, none of that. And he was very insistent on it. So he was so way ahead of everything. It was amazing.
Some of the favorite shows I've ever seen, the ones that have really stayed with me, are like Peter and the Starcatchers. Same thing. Like they just had a piece of
Come From
rope, and they
Away.
would turn the rope into a boxing ring and into the waves in the ocean, into the Come From Away. Same thing. You change a hat, you're a different character. You move a chair around, and it's now it's a car, then it's a plane seat.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that really stay with me. I mean, Falsettos did a lot of that. You guys just had those blocks, and you just
yeah,
moved them around,
Yes,
and you turned it into
these yoga blocks that became everything. Yeah.
and I think
No,
if it's our town, the audience has it again, then they get to create what our town is for them. It's not created for them to see, it's created in their imagination. And isn't that the power of the stage? I mean, that's the power of it. I can't wait.
That's why we want to do theater as opposed to making it a TV show or a
movie,
episodic thing or whatever. We're streaming it on Apple, No, we're sharing this incredible, sacred experience all together in a darkened theater with 28 actors on a stage. It's really
special.
beautiful. It's really special.
And you're one of the lucky ones that gets to go back and forth from musicals to plays to musicals. Do you have a preference?
I really like doing plays, honestly.
Okay.
I love doing musicals. The problem for me is that I have so much anxiety because I'm not a trained singer, and I'm not a dancer at all. I mean, still in recovery from the tap. Just at the end, but and I loved doing it. I loved it. I loved doing On the Town. I loved doing Anything Goes.
Your Electra. I will never forget your Electra, Gypsy.
Oh, well, that I will say that was actually one of my most special experiences. And just to let your listeners know, Bernadette Peters is doing a one night only concert at Carnegie Hall. And she's asked Heather Lee and I to reprise our roles as the strippers with her. She'll be Mazeppa. I will reprise my role as Miss Electra, and Heather will reprise her role as Miss.
Are you going to see your midriff on Carnegie Hall stage?
Yeah, no. She'll be, yeah. But I think I enjoy doing plays a little bit more because I have less anxiety. On the other hand, I will say that some of the highlights of my theatrical career, I adored. I mean, talk about a crazy masters in musical theater. At one point, I was playing the female authority figure during matinees. And then at night, I was playing Velma von Tussle in Hairspray and singing Baltimore Crab. I always had a lot of anxiety about it, but once I started doing it, it was really fun. The reason was Margot Lyon, wonderful late Margot Lyon,
Producer?
producer.
Yeah.
She didn't like a lot of the Velma von Tussles that she was seeing. I guess, for auditioning for replacements. And so she just finally one day said, "Oh, just have Julie do it." I was like, "I can't sing multiple rams. I can't sing these. What is she talking about?" Well, but she's funny. She'd say, "Oh, but she's so funny. Well, I remember I went to Andrew Reynolds. I was like, "How am I going to do this? I can't." He goes, "Oh, just, well, you move around." Do you know what I mean? The cast was so tolerant, I have to say. And I worked with the musical director. It was a lot of work, but I must say, once I finally found it, I had a lot of fun mixing up the roles at night. So there would be people who'd say, "Are you on tonight as Velma, or are you on tonight as..." It was crazy.
I love that. And do you know what I'm seeing? Charles was like, "Oh, gosh, let's just get her to do it." Margot's like, "Oh, just get Julie to do it." There is an understanding that who you are, the vessel that you are, is going to there and do it your way and knock it out of the park. Doesn't that feel great?
I am not young. I'm a woman in her 60s. It has taken me this long to finally
embrace it.
accept this.
But those are some of our greatest stars, is when they aren't necessarily transforming into something very different. There's always an element, a through line of what makes them special in every single thing. Do you know what I mean? Like a Carol Channing. On the other side, you think of a Jack Nicholson. They're not going to form into something where you're like, "Oh, who's that actor again?
Right.
Oh, I just can't recognize."
Right.
That's who and what you are. There's
It's
always
the
going to
essence.
be a resounding Julie Halston in everything you do. And that's what makes it so extraordinary and exciting. But you've laid the groundwork for so many years. That's now our understanding. She's going to bring XYZ to this role, and I can't wait. Just call Julie to do it.
Yeah, that's what happened. And now that's what has happened. And it's taken me this long to accept it.
The line that sticks out today, to go back to our town, is every moment of life should be treasured. Every moment of life should be treasured. So even I'm doing the notes, right? I'm on the plane feeling deflated. Yeah, I had a concert this last weekend. I had to make a really hard call just out for it and be like, I can't do it. I can't struggle through it. I can't pretend like I can just sing through it. So I have to make this executive decision. And then I thought, well, there's got to be a gift in there somewhere, that either people came together, they still showed up, maybe they went to dinner, maybe something wonderful happened. There definitely is something to be treasured, even in the dark times or the times where we feel sad, because we're still breathing. And that in and of itself is the gift, right?
It's so interesting. And we're talking about this because we had a big Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation meeting just for this Zoom meeting. And it's been 15 years since we've been doing Broadway Belts, but it's also been 25 years since the foundation was created. And one of the things I brought up, I said, if we're going to look back on some of the accomplishments over the years of this foundation, I said, I think I would like to look back in a way about some of the performers who have worked with us. And I thought of Gavin.
Oh,
And
gosh.
because he created a video for us 2 years ago for Tom Viola, where he sat at the piano and created a song about Tom Viola and the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation. It was beautiful and witty and touching. And I just thought, we've lost so many, and we should be celebrating them again, remembering them, honoring them. And you're right. We are here. I'm looking at the two of you. I think we look good. We're basically healthy. We're struggling with certain things. Do you know what I mean?
But that's a gift.
I think the key is to recognize that stuff when you're earlier on, like we are. My mother, I have a mother who's she'll be 87. And I just went to Spain with her, and she walked 16,000 steps a day with me. She walked it. And we'd come home and I'd be like, I got to put my legs up. And I put my legs up. She's like, I'm going to the pool. And her attitude about it is, listen, I'm 87. I'm going to do what I got to do. And even when I'm tired and my feet hurt, I'm not going to focus on my fatigue and my aching feet. I'm going to go to the pool, and because there's something nice out that door. And I think that's the kind of spirit you search for, and if you can get there before you're in your late 80s, then you have something. And her dad lived to be 103, and he used to say all the time, you can't focus on the slights. You can't focus on what went wrong. You got to feel it and go, okay, what's next, and move on and let it go, and don't drag it along with you. And I think if
Just like
that's
Ralph said.
You got to move forward. Got to
right,
move
you
forward.
just got to
Yep.
keep going and drop the stuff that doesn't matter. Find the joy and just keep going. What does it really come down to? Do you finish a
Being
long day
present,
and then want to
showing
jump
up,
in the
being
pool?
grateful, and finding joy and
Absolutely.
jumping in the pool.
Jump in the pool.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
We're not promised anything, you all.
Right.
And not listeners, we're not trying to bring it down.
Yeah.
Much like Julie said before, it's not about the heaviness of death. It's death is part of life, but if you're not living the life while you're here, then what are we doing? That's really the question.
Yeah.
We are given this time, but we don't know how long. So you better just live it wholeheartedly. And look, I'm saying this as loudly to myself as anybody else.
Me
And within
too.
the play of Our Town, she gets to choose one day to go back to. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this of Julie and Mary Lee as well, but
Mm.
listeners, so what one day would you want to go back to relive?
Oh, wow.
Actually, Jeffrey Richards, our producer, asked us this question because he's putting a souvenir program together where he's asked every member of the company. And I did write about the one day that I would live over again. And it was surprising to me because it was not, just like Emily found out, it wasn't a big day. It wasn't the day I married Ralph. It wasn't the day of our first grandchild or whatever. Ralph was very sick. And my stepdaughter said, look, you need some time off. I'll take care of Dad for a little while. You go off for a long weekend. I have a friend who has a beautiful home in Rhode Island. So she invited me to her home in Rhode Island. It was a summer. We were on her porch. We had cheese and crackers and, tea and wine and, do you know what I mean? And we saw the sunset. Then we were singing songs from the 1980s. I'm sure her neighbors were like, what in God's name is going on? And Chip, because he's a great cook, made this fantastic dinner. And it was like we were 14. We sat up till almost 3 o'clock in the morning, laughing like, like stomach hurt laughing.
Doubled over.
Like you're almost peeing. You're almost, and now we might be peeing. But you're laughing
right now, Julie.
Right now. So we were laughing so hard. And then I climbed into this beautiful bed and it was just comfortable, whatever. And they were like taking care of me. I fell asleep right away. I woke up and the smell, very much like Old Town. Coffee and biscuits. They were making coffee and biscuits. And I just went down, my dear friend. I thought, this is the day I would live over. It had every element I loved. Sensuality in a way, with all the senses. But I was with two people I adored. We laughed, the laughter, it was comfortable.
Mary Lee?
Oh my
Mary
gosh,
Lee?
that's a really hard question, isn't it? It's a really hard question.
It is.
There are two that come to mind, but the one I will tell you is Seb was about, he must have been about 3 years old. And the thing about Seb was he was very verbal, and he could string together really long sentences at a very young age. And we used to do this big bubble bath time, right? And I used to bring like an empty water bottle and we would play games in the bathtub and stuff. And it was Christmas time because we had been watching all the Christmas specials, and the abominable snow monster one. I can't remember which one that is, but you know which one I mean with that. Yeah.
Sure.
So there were all these bubbles in the bathtub.
It's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Is it Rudolph? Okay, so we were building all these things out of suds, in the bathtub. And I covered the water bottle with all these bubbles. And I said, look, it's the abominable snow monster. And he turned to me and he said, no. And he started cracking up and he goes, it's the abominable snow monster. The abominable, because it had a bottle underneath it. And we laughed.
Witty at such a young age.
And
Oh,
he
that's
looked, he
very
caught me in
funny.
the eyes and I went, oh my God. And he knew he was funny and I knew he was funny. And we laughed so hard. And I remember that moment was so full of like possibility and who will he be and what a like funny little mind and what else is in there. And I remember like just being overflowed with laughter and joy in that moment. I'd want to go back to that moment and feel that again.
Big deal. Sure. Oh my goodness. Adorable. Adorable.
Okay, what about you, Steph?
It's fancy, but it's not, because we decided to take a trip to go to Hawaii when I was finishing my first trimester, going into my second trimester. So I was preggies. And Seb and I found this little beach by accident. It was just he and I on the beach, and the sand got super, super duper hot. So we wanted to go to this edge. It looked actually like the edge of the world. It was this beautiful horizon, but the sand was so hot that he would walk first, and then I would step in his imprint of the sand. And I was big-ish because I got big pretty quickly, and I was teetering and tottering, and we were laughing because I was losing my balance. And Vivi, it felt to me like she was laughing as well because she was so active, or maybe it was all in my mind with me being teeter-tottery, but it felt like she was a part of it. Then we went back, we had fresh strawberries. I took a nap at 4 o'clock while quote unquote Seb went to find the perfect wave. He's never surfed a day in his life. He just always looks for the perfect. It takes him longer to put on his sunscreen and the wetsuit than he actually is in the water. He came back, we grilled, we watched the sunset and looked for shells, and that was it. And it was absolute. Time was ours, the day was ours, every choice was ours. And similarly, it tasted better, it smelt better. It just was like this internal bubble of really quiet perfection with the three of us. Yeah, I'd go back to that day for sure.
Fantastic.
For sure.
Beautiful. Let me ask you something. How long have you been doing this?
This is season 5.
Yeah,
So
we're coming up on season 5.
Pandemic. Yeah. Oh, we're coming up on season 5.
Yeah.
So we aired our first one August 2021, right? Because you called me late August 2020 or early 2021. And she called and I was sad. And she's like, let's make something. And this was the product of let's make something. And
we
now
would have these conversations just about like creativity and where does it come from and what do you do when you feel like it's dried up and being
how are you getting through the pandemic as an artist?
Yeah, like what are you doing as a mom, and are you feeling defeated? And I just said, Steph, we know so many brilliant people. Like, let's have real conversations, not like tell me about your resume, but like tell me about your humanity. Who are you?
But yeah, so we just decided let's call it stages. But usually the conversations go to stages of life, or what have you learned? Or so it's really interesting. We prepare like crazy and then just let the conversation kind of go where it goes. And the way people share has been such a gift to us because I don't know, we all feel safe. So we share in a different way than what you might do on a normal quote unquote showbiz Broadway podcast of any kind, it's just a different.
I love it.
But I get really discouraged with human nature often. Like I really do. I mean, I kind of mutter to myself a lot. I can't stand people. But then this show, then I get on the show and I talk to people and I'm like, no, I love these.
I get it.
I just need a reminder in my life. Right. What's coming up next? The 5 questions. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Okay.
Well, since we were just talking about our favorite days, are you more of a desert, mountain, or ocean person?
Ocean. Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, you have been arrested. You're thrown in jail. You have to call one of your grandkids to come bail you out. What do they assume that you have done to get yourself in jail?
Oh, probably said something very politically incorrect. That it was something that my big mouth got me into. My big mouth. Yeah.
Yep, I would assume. We walk into your closet. Is there a garment or a jewelry, something that holds so many memories you will never, ever get rid of it?
Oh, probably my wedding jacket.
Oh, lovely.
Wedding jacket. Yeah. 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 And it's still there
Oh.
in this room. Yeah.
Okay. If your life were a book, what is this chapter called?
Honestly, I'm still here. Still here. That's what this chapter is. Yes.
If you were a nail polish color, what would that color be? And what's the cheeky little name of the nail polish?
Oh boy, you guys are really.
This
you
is the
guys-
last one. This is the last one.
Okay. I would say something like very, very fun.
Oh,
Ooh.
I love it.
Is it like a
Very-
red and purple or a raspberry?
Yeah, it's got a reddish purple to it. Very, very fun.
I
You are
love
very,
it.
very fun. Thank you for your time. Congratulations on the show. All good things to you. I adore
I
you.
love being here. I love seeing you, Stephanie. I love meeting you
Same.
again, Mary Lee. I'm really knocked out that you've been doing this. Love to your family and you know, your mom, Mary Lee, your mom. I'm going to remember. I'm going into the pool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
go
into the
jump in
pool,
the pool.
baby.
You're very, very fun. And I adore you, darling. I adore
Thank
I
you
you.
so
adore you,
much.
darling. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye, honey.
Coming up next, what struck a chord? What a
Julie
delight.
Halston. Oh, and her voice is so singular.
Yeah.
And it goes back to those old like transatlantic sounds, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
not put on or affected in any way. It just is part of who she is. I can hear it. One of my favorite movies is The Women. And when I saw that on her resume, I was like, oh, I can hear the timbre of her voice on those lines from the 1940s. Just perfect. Just perfect.
So
You know,
you're back in
had-
California now.
I'm back in California. Yeah, the trip was kind of a big one. And then with the 2 gigs, you know, like I said, first one went over like gangbusters, just and then the second one took a turn that I wasn't expecting. And it's still hard to be like, I'm disappointing all those people, but certainly wasn't my intention, you know?
No, of course
About
not. Of
allowing
course
for
not.
life to be life and hoping that I will say my friends and fans are very gracious. So most people DM'd me via Instagram and I reached back out to them and apologized and just said thank you for their support and grace. And there were only a handful that were like, this is the worst. I flew out from XYZ, or I knew this was going to happen. I've been trying to meet you for years. And you, as silly as it sounds, you really hold that to heart. You think, oh
Mm.
shoot, this
You
was a
feel a
moment.
responsibility.
Yeah, of course. Because in their life and what they were looking forward to and their plans and it took on a different weight, a different meaning, you know. And I don't hold any of that lightly, but I just knew. I knew. And the older we get, we understand our
It's
voice,
hard.
right? Yeah.
It's
But
really
you
hard.
say, hey, I can't pretend. It's not like I am only singing 4 songs or 5 songs in whatever musical. It's just you and your musicians talking and singing
Yeah.
for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I couldn't
Yeah.
pretend that was going to happen. No.
How do the producers and those types handle it? Do they get upset? I assume.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends. I have been in other situations where, you know, sometimes you just kind of go into crisis mode. So much like anything, is the nurturer. There's going to be someone who is the crisis control management, and we have to do, you know, they can't really care about your health or your feelings at the time. It's just, we've got to make these calls. We got to do the things. What is she willing to do? Can she sign the posters? Can she, you know, that sort of thing. But everybody, I must say, at least the front of house and back of house, they were really generous of spirit and very caring. And their
That's
first thing
good.
was like,
That's so good.
thank you for your time. We hope that you'll be able to come back. And as do I. I hope I'll be able to come back. My schedule has been such that, I've barely been home for a month from London. I got a call and I was immediately in a recording studio for a project that I hope is announced very soon. But it was
Oh, I
out
was
of the
going to
blue.
ask you if we could talk
Unexpected.
about that. Okay.
I can't. Sadly, I can't. I would love
Oh,
to ring all the bells and
you'll
all
have
the
to come back
whistles.
next episode for
Yeah,
the
but I
announcement.
think, mid to late November, there will be news, and all of this cryptic descriptions that I'm giving you will be much more clear. But I was in the studio for 6 days, all day long,
Yeah.
and that was exhausting.
Yeah.
And then it took, you say yes to all the things, and your body says, no, you can't
Yeah.
say yes to things. Yeah.
What's
So,
really interesting is what I've been feeling lately, and it could just be like fear and nerves and stuff, but getting back into singing and doing this very small little concert that I'm doing, I'm finding that my attitude about singing has flipped, where once singing was sort of my go-to thing, right? Now, because of so much time away from it, I'm finding that storytelling has become my go-to thing, and singing feels like too much work. Too much
wow.
pressure. It's so much
Yeah.
work and so much
But
pressure.
do we put
And you
the
can't get
pressure
a
on
sore
us?
throat, and you can't,
Oh, it's true.
you don't want to get on a plane because you might get sick, and then you can't sing. And
Yes.
and as much as I kept thinking that I got to get back to it, I feel like it's so much stress that I don't
It
know that.
is. But I'm with you in the sense that, yes, all of the technical aspects of getting that little muscle
Yeah.
to make that we hope for, it really relies on a lot of outside forces and health and luck and all that. But for me, I always have to just remind myself, if the joy isn't there, then it's not worth singing the song. So I have got to find the joy. And sometimes it just happens by the sheer looking at the audience. Sometimes it happens with the story that preludes the song. Um, but the word that just kept in my head was like, it can't be stressful. It has to be joyful. And I would say, listeners, take that into the audition room, take that into meeting new people. You just have to find the joy in it all, or else it's not going to be the experience that you're hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be flexible with yourself and allow yourself to be different and changed. And you can't chase what you once were. You have to settle into what you are now. And that's a hard thing to do. I think it's a hard place to keep reminding yourself to be. But
Yeah. And I'd even challenge you, let's not use the word settle. Let's celebrate.
oh,
Celebrate.
that's
Do you know
true.
what
I
I
didn't
mean?
mean settle in a bad way. I meant
No,
settle
I know, but
like
that
you're
is
settling into a comfy couch.
getting
But yes,
comfortable with,
yes.
being friends with, and making cozy love with the person you are now.
Oh, crazy.
For sure. Those of you who don't know what Our Town is about, just look it up, read the synopsis. It really is one of the most prolific plays out there. I mean, the smartest of smart people constantly studying it and writing theses about it. And it's considered one of the greatest plays of all time. So I do encourage you to. It's 3 acts, so it's not one of those quick 90-minuters, but the life lessons you learn and the beauty of the story is pretty deep and pretty beautiful. So go see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it. I think next month I'm gonna go. I can't wait.
Great.
All right. I love you.
You too.
Stages podcast is produced by Mary Lee Fairbanks and Stephanie J. Block. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Join us on social media pages or sign up for the mailing list at stagespodcast.net. That is also where you will find Stages swag. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share and rate and review the show. It really helps us grow. Big thank you to Noah Kaiserman and Garrett Healy for the original music, and Allison Arns, who has been with us since day one. See you soon.